to actually share opportunities, resources, you name it. Dr. Karen, this was just so we want to thank her for being here with us. Yeah. And then my other sister over here, we kind of call her Peace University, and I'm not talking about Dave Ramsey University. I'm actually talking about, this is a peace ambassador. Yes. Peace ambassador is keeping peace. So that's how we end up getting together, because I used to do some work on peace talks, but this young lady is doing the do. She travels all around the world to do just that. And we're so happy to have Dr. Teresa with us. All right, I'm going to start with my Dr. Karen here. Dr. Karen, can you share examples of how data-driven decisions making, again, let me go back. This is scaling. Let me make sure I got everybody on one page here. This is scaling leadership and data for impact and results. Everybody on the same page? Yeah. This is very serious. Would you not say? Yeah. Okay. But you don't manage. You can't manage, right? I think she'll say that for you, okay? All right. So can you share some examples of how data-driven decision-making has directly led to tangible impact and results within your organization? And it's a two-part question, all right? What were the key metrics or indicators used, and how were they measured?
Absolutely. So I actually work in HR, which is a non-revenue generating department. And so we are always scrambling for dollars per se, because we don't directly generate revenue. And so to give you an example of how I articulate the value of my division at the table, being that we don't directly bring in revenue, is that I was getting feedback from my staff. My staff was set up as generalists, meaning they do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. So we didn't have any specialists. Well, when you are a generalist, sometimes it happens during the season, one task takes over all of your time and you don't have enough time for some of your other tasks. And so I was getting feedback from my staff that recruitment, we're spending too much time doing recruitment, we don't have time for employee relations, yada, 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 yada. With my staff, I encourage them to tell me what's going on, because I don't believe silence is a superpower. So if you don't tell me what's going on, I don't know what is going on. So getting that feedback, I realized it was time to reorganize my division, meaning that we could not operate as generalists anymore. We needed some specialists, probably some talent acquisition, some recruiters. But as a non-revenue generating division, I can't just go to the table mid-budget year and say, hey, I need a couple of $100,000 for new staff. I need to prove to someone that it is imperative that I get this $200,000-$300,000 mid-budget year now. And so what I did was I created a template for my staff. We did a time study of 1 week, meaning that they had to document every task that was related to recruitment, so that we knew exactly how much time they were spending on recruitment. We did that for 1 week. They documented it on the template that I created, and then I multiplied that times 52. And when I multiplied that times 52, the data that was not here before showed that we were doing over 2,000 hours of just recruitment related things. 2,000 hours and 80 is a full-time position. If you multiply that times 52 weeks times 40. And so I was able to make a recommendation to get the increase so that I can hire at least 2 part-time or 1 full-time talent acquisition manager, because I proved that my staff were just working over 2,000 hours just on recruitment. And so that is how you justify using analytics, even when you aren't a direct revenue generating department. And so what we used the work that they were putting in. We used how much time they were spending talking to managers, how much time they were evaluating applications, the times for the job assessments those were the tools and the resources that was taking up the time. And then we equated that to a metric. I equated that to $1, and then I made the request for funds.
lot of how you get paid and why you get fired. Okay. I mean, it really does. Yes, so, how do you find a great leader and what qualities you believe exist?
Thank you. How I define a great leader is one that can teach hard skills like sales, like what Shay Brown does, if you're an educator, teach instructional strategies and best practices. Those are hard skills, but also soft skills, to be able to implement soft skills like effective communication, adaptability, creativity, establishing trust, using emotional intelligence. You need to have a well-rounded leader and be able to teach hard skills and soft skills. If someone possesses those qualities, then they can really scale leadership. With the definition of scaling leadership is to be able to expand, develop, and produce new leaders. So that's what I believe.
Awesome. She's actually writing a book about soft skills, so I'm excited about that book coming out. Okay. So I want to ask you this, because I think it's super important, Dr. Karen, that we as leaders know what resources to use. Because sometimes, our superiors are not telling us, where should we go? What do we do? You know why? Because they don't know. But we have you here today. Can you help us? Tell us about some resources or tools or some frameworks that you found particularly helpful in your leadership, as far as skills.
Well, assessments, you need to know where someone is and where they want to go to figure out where the gap is, to figure out how to draw a blueprint or a plan to get them there. So you have to assess your people, and it needs to happen on a regular basis. There are some extraordinary things that happen in business that are beyond our control that impact our ability to meet our goals. Those things need to be documented as well, because that may not be on the employee as to why they didn't meet their goals. And so if you have someone who is looking to go to the next level, they need to know exactly what those performance indicators are in terms of measurable performance indicators. Sometimes it's unclear as to what you need to do to get to the next position.
That's right.
And even if you ask the people who are in the position, they can't tell you what they did to get in the position.
That's right.
And so you need clear performance indicators for every position within corporate America, so everyone is clear about what it is that they need to obtain to get to the next level.
That's good.
In education, they use sometimes the Gallup to determine what your strengths and weaknesses are. And also Maxwell uses a DISC program to determine, what your leadership style and your skills are. So those are some practical things that you can take and use to develop teams together too. That's very important.
Good. Okay, good. All right, guys, so this is good. This is our last question, and they can interact on this. This is super important to many of us who build teams, right, and have employees, and that is how to promote a culture of continuous learning.
You have to have a professional development calendar, no matter what organization, corporate America, schools, you have to have a professional development calendar, and you need to differentiate that. Not everybody is at the first stage. You might have a well-seasoned teacher, or as someone said it earlier, you might have Devetta Henderson, someone who's seasoned, but those seasoned people with 30 years experience might need some new instructional strategies, and they're not used to the technology, so you have to really differentiate instruction. So have a professional development calendar, no matter where, corporate America, non-corporate America, schools, public schools, private schools, have that system and structure in place.
So the question is, I was high too. Anyway, so the question is, how do you promote a culture of continuous learning?
I knew what I was going to say. Lead by example is one. I am always learning. I am always reading. I am always sharing with my staff. I am always forwarding articles. All of my staff have all of my books. And so lead by example, and then I also bring people in to teach them. So even for those who don't want to learn, okay, our next staff meeting, we have a guest speaker in here who is going to teach you, because you're going to be there. And then also I give them reach assignments. I know that they aren't capable of doing some of the things I give them, but I know with my guidance and the partnership of their team, they can reach to the next level. And so I give them those reach and stretch assignments that help take them to the next level. And I create opportunities for them to make themselves visibly available to those who have the power to give them opportunities that help show and stretch and reach them to their next level.
One last thing to share with you. So, leaders in this room, leaders in the world, and people that know me know I'm all about peace. A leader is so important in making sure that their culture and climate and their organization is positive. Because guess what? When your people are satisfied, when you go into the break room and they say, hey, how you doing today, Dr. Mosley, rather than getting quiet, you know there's peace in your environment. When there's peace at work, there's peace when you're driving home. When you're driving home, there's peace in your home. When there's peace in the home, there's peace when you go to the grocery store. And when you go to the grocery store, there's peace in your environment. And then there's peace in the world. And that's what the world needs. So you as leaders, it's very important that you create that culture in your organization, because trust and believe, it does lead to peace in the world. Life is going to throw your emotions. Make peace, have compassion, and learn to love before you get here.
That's right.